Hey there, welcome back to the website. Tonight's entry, not going to apply to everybody. It's going to apply to people who love the bench press. And the entry tonight is actually inspired by one of my clients, Len. And if Len, you see this, you'll get a kick out of it. But Len was, he's looking to max out because he's actually going to possibly be applying to become a cop. So one of the tests is a max out. How much can you bench? So what I want to do is take a couple minutes. I'm going to zip through this and show you kind of a proper way that you'd want to max out. Any young people who's checked the website or maybe into it, this could be helpful as well, because a lot of young guys like to come in and just throw on as much weight as they can and then see how much they can do for a one repetition. So when anybody, a lot of times people say, how much can you bench or how much can you max? What we're talking about is how much can you do one time. So if I was going to max out tonight, this would be kind of my setup. So it's usually, 3-4 sets into it before you're actually doing that one rep. So it looks something like this. You take a weight, which is maybe like, a third of what you think you might be able to do. If you can do 200 pounds, warm up with 60, 70 pounds. So I'm going to use some math. I've been doing this for a couple of years, so I'm going to use this weight as just a stretch out weight, get some blood flow into my joints so that everything feels loose. Just going to do, 6, 7, 8 reps and get things warmed up. So I'm going to throw in a couple more pounds. And again, it's all kind of relevant to where you kind of have an idea of where you're at. You don't want to max out, in the very beginning of your first couple months of training. That's really not important. But, down the line, as you're trying to set goals for yourself, a lot of guys who want to know, how much can I bench? This is kind of how you would approach it. I can see in the camera it's a little off. I'm going to turn it slightly. Hi there. That might be better. So I'm going to jump up in weight and then do a few more reps. And again, I'm just stretching the muscles out and getting them ready, and it's called progressive overload. So I'm loading the muscle up more as I go, and I don't want to just throw in as much weight as I can right out of the gate. The bench press, for guys that are really into this, the bench press is kind of a sport within itself. Maxing out and really getting into trying to bench heavy. Bench press is not just a chest exercise. Bench pressing is it's a total body lift, and it really requires proper feet placement, a strong arch in the back. Your butt wants to be, you want to keep your butt on the bench. Your shoulder blades want to be kind of pinched together a little bit. You want to feel like you're spring loaded. So that you're using your whole body, your back muscles, your shoulder, your triceps, your quads. You're pushing into the ground with your feet, you're anchoring them down and creating this arch and pushing the weight. A lot of guys will say you're trying to push yourself away from the weight. So you're not thinking about pushing the weight up, but pushing your body in and away from the weight as it goes. So throw in a few more pounds. Get our feet where we need them. Anchor in our heels. Arch in the back. Chest is high. Lift off. Say, guys who are in this too, say, that's not a full rep. You have to look like you're locking out. Well, when you start to work heavy weight, locking your form out, if I'm benching and I push that weight and I lock, I'm transferring that weight onto the joint. And our elbows don't want to have a lot of weight on it. We want to keep that resistance, on the muscle. So, when I'm repping, sometimes it may look as if it's, half of a rep. But I'm really getting that full extension. I'm just not taking the arm and then locking the joint. So some of these reps on camera, they look like they're short reps. They count. They count my rep. So sometimes if you're in a bench press competition, they may want to see you at the very end and be fully extended. But as we're warming up, you know, we're not concerned with blocking out, getting the weight on the joint. So we bump up here. Again, if I was gonna keep climbing now, we're gonna pretend this is my 1 rep max. So realistically, what I've done is this is my 4th set into it. And that's kind of a system I've always used. I started with the 135, warmed up, threw on a couple more pounds, maybe 4 to 6 reps, jump up again, another 50-pound jump, you know, and again, this takes time. This takes a few years to, or at least a few months, if you're gonna start to get into lifting real heavy weight and maxing out. It takes some time to figure out what your best system is to progress up to 1 repetition. But the worst thing you can do, and again, the main purpose of this, this blog entry is we don't wanna come in, put as much weight on as we think we can do, and then try it, and especially without a spotter. So you always should have a spotter or have some safety racks that extend out. Again, kind of being a bad example because I don't have a spotter here, but I'm truly not going to do a 1 rep max for myself tonight. I'm just showing the progression of how to get there. So I'm, you know, I think I'm 4 sets in, and we're going to pretend that this is my 1 rep max. So again, feet placement. They're back behind the knees. They're not out here drifting. We're not having our feet up on the bench. Our feet are planted in the ground. The feet in the ground, I feel like I can actually push myself back into this wall behind me. And that's how you want to feel as you start to push the weight up, that you're actually taking your legs and you're pushing back. So kind of go through this process of my feet, they find the same spot. I lay down, I get them where I want them. I look for the rings on the bar, I want my hands in the same spot every time. Starting to arch my back now and pinch my shoulder blades together. And that's setting myself up with a nice spring and a firm base to push against, so I can actually use a little assistance from my back. Get my eyes right underneath the, you know, some section of your face under the bar, because when the bar comes up, it's going to come out and we want it just above the midline of the chest, or the bottom line of the chest. We're not going to have the bar come up into our collarbone area, but have it closer to the upper rib, lower bottom area of the chest. So take a deep breath, plant those shoulder blades, lift up, pause for a second, come down, pause, and push up, and wrap. So that's what we're going to pretend is my 1 rep max. And again, it's, if I can show you from the side, you know, I teach people this with benching sometimes. If you were ever in a functional position or a real life situation, I should say, where you had to push weight, you would never reach with the weight. You would actually anchor down and you would push yourself, use your whole body to push that weight. And that's what benching is. You know, you hear people talk about how much can I bench. It's a sport. You know, bench pressing is one of those exercises that it's truly a sport within itself. So if you're trying to increase your bench press, if you're a guy, some girls too, you know, you want to actually get some coaching on how to bench properly, because if your form is bad, you're going to struggle with your bench press, and it's going to be hard to make gains over time, knowing that realistically your whole body has to be incorporated into the lift, and everything needs to be you know, working together. A client I have, Tony, said this years ago that, you know, benching when he first was learning it, he says he felt like it was a wave, meaning starting from the feet, the energy, the push through the legs, down in through the quads, to the core, into the chest area, the arms, and then back up. So the bench press, he said, looked like this as the weight goes up. And a simple analogy from a newbie, but you know, it will stick with me forever. It makes a lot of sense. So starting with the feet is where the push comes from. Push from the feet, transfer to the leg, into the core, through the chest and the arms, the weight comes up. Hope this was useful next time you bench and you want to max out, but have a spotter and be careful. Talk soon.